Sounds good.
Record. All right. Did it say it was recording for you?
Yep. Meeting is being recorded. Got it.
All right. Sweet. Okay. So I haven't done an intro in a while. You're probably better than me at this.
It's taken a long time.
Yeah. All right. So got to get it. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Knowledge is Power podcast. I'm your host, Max Willett. And today I have a little bit of a different guest. Usually I have local business owners on, but today I have a YouTuber on. Yes, from New Hampshire. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
All right. What's going on, guys? My name is Jake Garino. And as Max said, I'm an automotive YouTuber. I own Drive Hub and I do everything related to cars, basically. That's the easiest way to put it.
Great.
Every kind of car, everything.
Yeah, I mean, so I met you, or I guess I texted you about the cars that I know of in New Hampshire. Must have been like 2 years now.
Oh, it was at least 2 years ago,
Yeah.
2 or 3. It was a long time ago.
Because I think it was when I was working up there in 2019. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then I went to your car show last year, which was awesome. I brought my buddy up there and there was that sick 488.
Oh, yeah.
That blue one. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about cars and about Jake's YouTube channel, and what he thinks about YouTube in general. So the first question I want to ask you is, so what made you want to create a car channel? You know, there's a million different things you could do. Why cars?
So I started about 6 years ago, just a car Instagram page, because I was going to all these shows. I was traveling to Florida to see family, and the car scene down around Southwest Florida and Naples, Florida was insane. And I didn't want to clog up my personal Instagram feed with all these cars. So I was like, all right, I'll make a dedicated car page and then just post all of the stuff that I was doing. You know, I was at this dealership in Florida. There was an Enzo there. I'd post that. I went to this dealership. There was a P1, post that. Then when I came back north, I was going to all these shows and stuff. I had buddies that had pretty cool cars, pretty cool at the time for me, you know, 350Zs, Subaru STIs and stuff like that. And it was just basically a way to post the cars that I was seeing. And that translated into starting to do the videos. I had a passion for cars, and I just lived and breathed cars. So it was the only option. There was nothing that came close.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So 6 years now you've had a channel.
So I started the YouTube channel around 5 years ago, a year into starting the car page, because again, I had a Jeep, my brother had a Jeep, and I was doing work on him and stuff. I was like, all right, this is a cool way to document it and stuff. And I really had no hopes of ever growing it. I was just posting just to post. I liked filming stuff. I loved photography at the time. I was taking a photography class in college at the time, and I just liked documenting it. There was really no trajectory or anything. It was just to make videos and get them up there.
Yeah, very cool. So the original name of your channel was Drive New Hampshire, right?
That's right.
And you changed your name to Drive Hub.
Yep.
And I was actually interested in why you changed the name. Now, you had brushed over, I think, on Instagram or whatever. So what was the main reason why you changed your name?
So it was just not to limit myself. So a few years into actually having the YouTube channel and the car page, I decided, after doing a video on my dad's 2006 Corvette convertible that he got down in Florida, I was like, hey, Dad, can I take this and do like a kind of review with it? Just take it, drive it around, get some shots of it. And he didn't really understand what I was doing with it. He kind of just, shrugged his shoulders and was like, sure, I don't really care what you do. And over the course of a week, I filmed a ton of shots, and did like a Top Gear style review. And in 6 months, it started to gain 10,000 views a day until it landed at like 650,000 views. And it blew my mind, because up to this point, I was just doing little videos. A buddy would come over and we'd install an exhaust, or, I'd put a lift kit in my Jeep, something like that. I never expected something I mean, to see something that you create be seen by that many people. It was just, it like injected something in me. I was
Mhm.
addicted to it. I was like, holy crap. Like, and AdSense, I was in the AdSense program, so I made a little bit of money. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to start doing this more seriously. And at that time, I was still Drive New Hampshire. And after a few of those videos and they were doing pretty good, I was like, I don't want to limit myself to this demographic. I want to open myself up so that I can go to, another state and film. If I go down to Florida, I can film and not be Drive New Hampshire in Florida. I just wanted to become nationwide and even go international if I really wanted. So it was just a way to open up my demographic, hit a new target market, and just not be limited by having NH, meaning New Hampshire, in my name.
Interesting. And I don't know. The thing about the name that gets me isn't the name, it's the logo.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm like, maybe it should be like, because I had the sticker on my car.
Thank you.
And I was like, and then my mom said something about it. I was like, I think I have to take it off. So it's not on my car anymore.
Damn it.
And I unfortunately, but I still have the t-shirt.
That's
and
right. Thank you.
I'm still like, I don't know if I should wear the t-shirt or not. So
people will look at you, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's like one of those like
oh yeah,
double takes. Like
exactly.
what is that guy wearing?
Yep. Oh
but
yeah.
It's definitely, and while that could be a negative, at the same time, it's a positive because people do take that double take and they're like, they remember the name.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword, and it all depends on the audience. And obviously your audience isn't, 50-year-old woman,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, while it could be, that's not necessarily
No.
who it is.
No.
So obviously YouTube is a very competitive market.
Extremely.
There's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of channels, and then thousands, if not tens of thousands of car channels.
Yeah.
So what do you do to try to stand out in the plethora of channels on YouTube?
The only way to put it would to be more entertaining, because the thing that I found is I love cars, and you can be driving the nicest car in the world, everyone's dream car. But if you're not, if you're just, not to insult the market, but a lot of the guys are pretty mundane. They're pretty bland. I loved Top Gear, and the thing that I found with Top Gear is they were more entertaining than anything. Sure, they were driving, they were different, and sure, they were driving around, most of the time in these insane cars, but they could be doing some of the challenges and, the biggest pieces of crap. I mean, I can't even say how many times they did, challenges with these really, cheap cars or something, and they were still making it entertaining. You didn't watch it for the cars, you watched it for them.
Exactly.
So that was the only way that I think that I stand out. And I've noticed it in the comments and stuff. And, more in the recent months than anything, I even came out of my own shell. I wouldn't say that I'm a very shy person to begin with, but when you get a camera in front of anyone at first, it changes you. So even the first few months that I was doing it, hell, the first few years, even though I tried to be funny, I really wasn't. And it was until I kind of forgot that the camera was there and was myself more, that I became a little bit more out of my shell, and people found that it was a little more entertaining. And that's why I think some people stick around.
Okay. So it's funny because I don't really watch a lot of YouTube, but there is one guy that when they upload, I watch him, and that's the Stradman. Yeah. I've watched him since like freshman year of high school, if not before that. Yeah. And I look up to him as like sort of a content creator. 3D printing and cars are totally different, but I try to make different content. For example, like I've done a 3D printed golf ball video. I did one, I made a car part. And then I just recently did a disc golf video, and I 3D printed a disc and did that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So what car or what YouTuber in general do you kind of look up to in terms of content?
It's hard to pick one. I do also find myself watching the Stradman more than anybody, just because he's probably the most entertaining out of all of them. He's high
Mm-hmm.
energy and stuff. He's always doing something cool.
Mm-hmm.
And but as for like the actual reviews and the more informative stuff, I'd have to say I watch Doug
Yeah,
DeMuro.
Doug DeMuro. Who doesn't watch him now?
Literally everyone
Yeah.
watches him.
Yeah.
He's huge, and he's entertaining. That's
Yeah.
really it's entertaining to watch. So those are probably the main two. And I'll hop around and stuff. And the thing that I do mostly is I don't watch YouTube just to sit and watch YouTube. I literally don't have the time. So whenever I do watch YouTube, it's to learn something. So I'll
Yeah.
watch every single automotive YouTuber there is. Like Whistling Diesel's another one.
Okay. Isn't he
kind
work
of-
with Stradman?
No, he
No.
hates Stradman. They have
Oh,
beef.
They
have
do?
beef.
Then who's
Yep.
the guy with the long? How do you have a beef with Stradman?
He hates that he does everything in purple or something, and he just
That's
there
stupid.
he said it roughly in one of the videos, but Whistling Diesel again is just entertaining. I hate that
Yeah.
he destroys, some nice stuff, some people's dream stuff, but the kid is so smart in the way that he did it, you can't stop watching. So it's a
Yeah.
good success story.
Was he the one on Discovery Channel? Is that who that was? Or no? Those are the Diesel Brothers or whatever.
Diesel Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
And Diesel Dave sometimes does videos with Whistling
Mhm.
Diesel. So that's probably
okay.
you might have seen him
Yeah.
floating around.
Yeah, I mean, Doug DeMuro is interesting because I could only like watch one of him a week because his voice kind of
Yeah.
gets annoying.
Yeah, I get about once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can actually watch him.
Yeah, because they're super long and sometimes just like, another Jeep
Yeah.
going up the side of a window, and he's like, it's so cool. And I'm
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You said that every single Jeep video you've done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I know exactly what you mean.
it's crazy though that I did watch or kind of watch. I watched like 10 minutes of the newest, the Wagoneer, the new
Yep.
Jeep
I haven't seen
Grand
that yet.
Wagoneer. Is that what
Yep.
it is?
The Grand
And-
Wagoneer.
Yeah. And that thing, 110 grand for a freaking Jeep.
Yeah, it's it's I don't know. I'd have to see the video and stuff. I know it has the 6.4 in it though. They
Yeah,
mentioned
but
the Scat Pack.
yeah, but 110 grand for a Jeep, like it's gonna take them a few years,
Yeah.
because that's like X6 territory, and an X6 is probably just a better car, just because it's a better company and it's better built. Reliability, usually at 110,000 miles, people aren't really worried about that. $110,000 because they'll just pay to fix it,
Yeah.
But from a reliability standpoint, I think that's the only thing the Jeep would have over the BMW. Just the naturally aspirated V8, is just going to run longer.
Yeah. They put in everything.
Yeah. So obviously you said you've been doing YouTube for 5 years. How long did it really take you to get used to that channel, the camera? I know we brushed over that, but how long did it take you for really get used to it?
How long did it take me to actually get used to the camera? It's embarrassing. It took me probably 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years to actually get. It's not that the camera bugged me. It was what it did to me, what it did to my personality. Like I was more toned down. I didn't want to crack jokes. I was worried about people watching me when I was filming and stuff. Just because I would, I'd get nervous and stuff, and I'd keep saying Again, it was probably in the last year and a half where I actually was finally like, look, dude, it's just a camera. It's and I looked at it more as, instead of you're talking to a camera, act as if you're talking to someone. As if you're best friends right there and you're talking to them. And that's really what changed everything for me was learning to overcome that.
I have noticed that your videos have gotten a lot higher quality over the past year and a half. And
Thank you.
I mean, because you watch a lot of people like just brushing over channels, and then you get one channel that has like a couple 100,000 subscribers, and the guy sucks. Like, you're like, how?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand it. And my dog just knocked something over. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But there is one YouTuber that I absolutely cannot stand, and that's Vehicle Virgins. Talk about beef with the Stradman.
Yeah.
That guy
seriously.
just annoys me.
Yep. Yep.
Like
It's his voice and his
and he's
demeanor.
he's just like, I just don't like him. I watched him for a few years, and then he started getting in the beef with the Stradman. I'm like, you can't make fun of the Stradman and get away with it. And it's funny because he's got like 2 million subscribers, but he gets like 10,000 views a video.
So the big thing, because again, I don't like him, but I'll watch him because there's something to learn from him. So what I found out from watching him is that he had a bunch of videos go huge, and that's how a lot of guys get to where they are. I'll notice even, I'll use Instagram Reels, for example. I had an Instagram Reel get like 100,000 views, and literally overnight, I gained almost 200 followers. So you scale that up to 1 million views on YouTube. Look at what you're going to get for subscribers. You're going to get as many subscribers in that one video as I've gotten working at this for 6 years. So that has a lot to do with it. But Vehicle Virgin said something about he was on medication or something that made him, for a few videos, just go haywire. And they were terrible videos. He lost a ton of following. And now he's in like his recovery phase. So that's why his views, I noticed that too. He's got 2 million subscribers and his views are, 20, 30,000 views.
Well, that's how you make the money. It's just views, right? Not subscribe. Once you get over 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you get.
Exactly. Subscribers is basically, subscribers is just basically, if you have a big subscriber base, you have a lot of people that are going to get notified when you make a video. Yeah. So, if you have 1 million subscribers and I make a video, if 1 million people get notified that I have a video, it's a good chance that a lot of them are going to watch it. The most important thing for a YouTube video is right when you post it in the first 24 hours. So if you can get a lot of subscribers, get a lot of those subscribers to watch that video when you first make it, that video is going to be successful.
It's funny because, I've uploaded videos on YouTube on my custom 3D channel. And I used to think I used to look at a video and be like, oh, that's clickbaity. And it totally works. Like clickbait. Yeah. And it's like, I did a video when I'm in my office right now, but I used to run it out of my parents' basement, corner in the basement. And I filmed the video so that the camera was pointed down at me, so you couldn't see the ceiling. And then for the thumbnail or whatever, the picture, I used a picture of this 3D printing farm that I just found out on Google. And it was a picture of 50 printers on a wall. And I put it up there, and it's the most viewed video on my channel. I got 12,000 views on it.
There you go.
And I got called out for it so much in the comments. I got 2 shelves with 6 printers and then a monitor. And it's and I'm filming it very preemptively, pointing it down. This is it. I'm not trying to show the ceiling, and the video sucked, but it's I got 12,000 views on it. And it was just what is it like to have a 3D printing farm? That's what I called it. And then put that smart picture up
too.
Yeah. And it's, I've tried to generalize the titles a lot more. Obviously I'm not great at it. I have 378 subscribers, which is, but I mean, I basically do it to add to the brand of the company. It's not something that I want to make my main source of income, because I understand that's very difficult to do that. But to the next question. So is YouTube your full-time job or really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So YouTube, I made it, about, just about 2 years ago, I made it my full-time gig. I have other very small, other revenue streams, things that I do on the side that are kind of related to it in a way. But YouTube is my main gig. It is full-time times 10.
Wow. See, I didn't, I don't know what the view rate is and the subscriber count where you could really start making enough money to support yourself was. But what did you do when you were doing YouTube and you couldn't sustain yourself? What was your part-time job or full-time job?
So I was actually I was a pizza delivery driver while I was in college.
Yeah.
And then because I loved driving.
Yeah.
And I was just driving around delivering pizzas in town in my Jeep. It was amazing. I had the roof off and stuff. Sorry for the cold pizza, everyone. But and then I left that because obviously the gas was just destroying me. God, the fuel was ridiculous. But after that, while I was still in college, I got a job at Enterprise, and I was a driver for them. So basically, I would go to the dealership to get a car or a group of cars that were going to become new rental cars, and then I would drive them out to the branches. But the best thing was it was all throughout New England. So one day I could be way at the tip of Maine, the next week down in Connecticut, Rhode Island. It was amazing. And I still do that one day a week just because I love it. I love my coworkers, and it's honestly like a break from YouTube for a day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's an interesting job.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to talk a little bit about cars here.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously recently there's been a huge EV movement, meaning electric vehicles.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that it's a good thing that the Mustang has gone electric, that Hummer is now electric, and good thing is generalized? So what do you think of that?
I mean, you can't stop it at this point. I have driven a lot of EVs. I drove a Tesla Model X. I didn't do a video on it, but EVs have their strong points. I mean, there's no getting around the fact that they're blisteringly quick. They have one moving part. And yeah, you don't have to pay for gas, but I mean, we all know the trade-off. There's no sound. How am I supposed to row through the gears in something that doesn't have gears? So I think they have their place, like an electric Jeep, an electric Hummer. Those are awesome for off-roading. The having the torque instantly and stuff. The EV Hummer, I watched videos of it going on. Oh no, what was it I was watching off-road? One of those
has a crab
vehicles.
walk. The Hummer has a crab walk. Yeah.
That's right. And so stuff like that it's good for, but I don't think EVs are going to be the future. I think who is it? Porsche that's trying to find an alternative fuel. I think that's going to be what ends up doing it. Because batteries, as we all know, what happens to the batteries when they die? I mean, you have to replace batteries. I don't know what the time slots are when you have to replace those, but you have to replace those, and they're going to end up somewhere. They're going to end up in a landfill. That's no better for the environment.
It's very interesting take on it, because honestly, some people would call that controversial, saying that EVs aren't as great for the environment as people say they are. And I mean, and people don't even realize what it takes to build one. And I think Engineering Explained did a video on this, and he talked about, basically you need to drive your electric car for 5 years, your Tesla Model S, for it to make a difference in the environment, right? Because what it took to manufacture that, it's insane. Like, you have to get the lithium from South America, and then it's completely assembled in the United States, and you got to get plastic parts from China, and all this different things, and then Tesla assembles it like crap, and then it doesn't last 5 years. I think what's his name, Hoovie's Garage rented a Tesla Model S, and it was absolutely horrible. It was 2013, and the door, the handles come out, and when he'd go to open the door, it'd close on his hand.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear that in the background?
Nope.
Okay, my dog is chewing on a rubber toy.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, all right. And it's very annoying. But so yeah, it's absolutely insane. Have you been around a Mustang Mach-E yet?
I haven't been around a Mustang Mach-E. Do I like that they took the Mustang nameplate? I can't say I'm a huge fan of it. I don't get why they couldn't have called it something else. Why didn't they call it like the Edge or something? They just had the Ford Edge that died off, not that long ago. And I feel like
they killed that.
I think they killed the Edge a while ago. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents had one, and it wasn't a bad car until the transmission, crapped out. But why not use that name for your crossover? Why would you do Mustang? That's the only thing that I don't get.
I think the biggest thing is marketing.
Yeah.
Especially like on Google, like you look up Mustang and now the Mach-E comes up.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
That's
people are looking up for a Ford Edge.
Yeah.
I mean they are,
True.
but it's just a Mustang isn't a horrible selling car, and now people can look it up and get an SUV. And I've seen a
Yeah.
couple of them actually out and about, and I saw one at the Boston Auto Show when it was
Yep.
first released, and I said instantly, that's a Ford Edge. I was
That's
like, it looks exactly like a Ford Edge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't get why they, but I mean, it does make sense, the marketing and stuff. It's
Yeah.
the
And
only way.
you had talked about how the electric cars are good for off-roading.
Yep.
What is like the center of gravity going to play? Because it's like, because it's so low, right? Well, does that take any difference into
that helps
off-roading?
off-road.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
That helps off-road, because
Okay.
if your center of gravity is high, then you're more likely to tip over. It's the same way.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
same thing in a way that if you're in a sports car, you want your center of gravity low because it's less likely to roll over. So especially off-road where you're much more prone to roll over. Well, yeah, I'd say much more prone to roll over.
Yeah.
You want your center of gravity low. That's why, lifting a Jeep isn't really as much to help it off-road as it is to look better, because if you lift it when you go off-roading and stuff and you already have ground clearance, then you're just increasing your center of gravity, which isn't that good. So where it's all right because you can clear more obstacles and stuff, if you didn't need to lift it in the first place and you could still get over those obstacles with it being factory ride height, which in my Jeep there was nothing I couldn't get over when it was stock. I just lifted it to look better and stuff. I just made it a higher center of gravity, really.
Yeah. Interesting. What do you think of,
Yep.
I don't know why, but like the new Jeep, like the newest model, I don't know what you call it, like the JL.
Yep.
JL, let's go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There you go.
It's controversial. Like some people don't like it. Why is that? Like, I don't understand. It looks exactly the same.
I think it's more the creature comforts that they put in it, because you have the diehard Jeep fans who, maybe in the 80s got a CJ7 that had nothing in it. I mean, it was literally the same. It was just a body on a frame and it had a steering wheel.
Yeah.
So I think it's those people that don't like it and think that a Jeep has to be this bare bones, thing. And the only thing I'd say to that is, if you want a bare bones Jeep, then buy an older Jeep. Like, I know people that have the same generation Jeep that I have, which is the 97 to 06. It's the TJ generation. And they haven't upgraded because they like that it's an older analog Jeep. It's got the old straight six in it. It doesn't have a lot of creature comforts. Mine doesn't even have traction control. But I know people who, they don't want a new Jeep just because they like the older ones. So they went and bought an older one, and that's the way it's going to be. Why would Jeep put less things in their SUV and make it sell worse? It's just to keep with a nameplate. It's the same thing with the C8. Everyone's like, oh, why would you change it? Where are the, why is the engine in the back? Well, why would you keep your sports car, limited? They reached the max potential of a front engine layout. They made a really fast car with the C7 Z06. They made it as fast as possible. The engine had to go somewhere else to make the Corvette faster. So that's what you do. It's evolution.
That's interesting, because I have a mixed take on the C8. I like old cars, but I'm not crazy for them. I got a friend who's super, super into old cars. But I like modern cars. I like evolution, but I mean, for them to say that the C7 was like the maximum potential of a front engine car, I kind of disagree with it, because there are things wrong with the C7 that could have been improved. Like the transmission was huge.
Yeah.
It had a regular automatic transmission in a car with 755 horsepower on the ZR1.
Yep.
Like, think about it. If you put a double clutch, or if you put a similar transmission like that Porsche has with the PDK, that might take 0.2 seconds off to 0 to 60.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's as fast as a C8.
Yeah.
So
I haven't driven a C7. That's the problem is I haven't driven a C7. It stinks. But the thing I think they ran out of speed with was they ran out of traction.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
You can put as much horsepower as you want in a car, but if you can't get that power to the ground, you're sitting there spinning. So
yeah,
that's where I think they ran out of performance with it, because you can make it shift quicker. I don't know how much the transmission would affect, the amount of torque getting put to the wheels at whatever instant. But I think it was really a matter of just running out of traction. 750 horsepower with front engine when you don't have that much weight in the back is hard. It's hard to get to the pavement.
So do you think it would have been more controversial for them to update the Corvette, make it a front engine and put all-wheel drive, or for them to move it to the back? Because obviously rear-wheel drive's huge.
Yeah. You're just going to have a different handling car too. But then again, you have a different handling car with the engine in the middle. So that's a good point. Sorry. Could you hear that?
Yeah, it's okay.
Text on my computer. I don't know why it come through. That's a really good point. I think, I don't know. There's something about an all-wheel drive car, because now you're opening it up to people who are like, oh, it's all-wheel drive. Now I can drive it in the winter. Oh, now I can, drive it in the rain.
Yeah.
So whereas if it's rear wheel drive, granted, that hasn't stopped some idiots from driving their Corvettes in the winter, but, and you lose like a handling characteristic of having it be all wheel drive. Again, even though it's when you put the engine in the back, you definitely change the handling too.
Yeah.
But that was probably a thing, if they told Corvette drivers that, hey, now it's all-wheel drive, some of the people who are driving Corvettes, the older guys, may not have even driven anything that's ever had all-wheel drive. So that's the only argument I have to that. But again, that's not a bad point.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah.
If Corvette was like, hey, it's all-wheel drive now.
It is. Well, I feel like when they come out with the electric car, I mean, not the like the hybrid one. What's that going to be called? Like this going to be like
Zorro or something.
Zorro. Yeah. So like that might be all-wheel drive. Like, who knows?
There were rumors. There were rumors.
And it's interesting. It really is. But I mean, I do like the C8. I feel like it could have been designed a little bit more with the traditionals. I would have loved if they brought back this, like the circle tail lights.
Yeah. I agree with the tail light thing, because I think that is what car now has circle tail lights. So if they could have somehow put circle tail lights into that would have been really cool. And they could have done it.
Yeah. I mean, and the front end looks a little too Japanese for me, or it doesn't look Italian. I mean, it does, but it looks like Japanese and like Italian styling. It doesn't look American. And it's really tough to say that about a mid-engine car, because there really aren't a lot of mid-engine American cars. Yeah. So it's really tough to say that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it could have been more like an individual design, and it really isn't.
Yeah, that's hard, because they built the chassis and stuff before anything. So the body kind of had to conform to handle the rest of the thing. So
and there's so many more regulations now. It's insane.
Exactly.
Like the car it's not designed anymore. It's what the feds say, what it can and can't be.
Exactly. Yeah. Your tail light has to be this high off the ground. This bumper has to be this height.
Yeah.
Well, there is. So I can feel for them. That's got to be a hard job.
I think it's hilarious that when Mercedes puts like the badge on, like the hood ornament.
Yep.
And it has to bend over.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because if you hit somebody, it's probably going to impale them.
Yeah. You're going to kill someone with your Mercedes badge.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's interesting. But back on the EV topic. Yep. So there's this new company called Rivian.
Yep.
Right. Have you heard of them?
Heard of Rivian. Yep.
What do you think about them?
I haven't done a ton of research on them, so I don't know if I'm even qualified to answer. I think it looks, it's a solid looking truck. I don't know what the specs are compared to the Cybertruck. Do you happen to know?
I think it's very similar. I don't think they've released exact horsepower numbers, but
Yeah.
I think it's 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds.
Wow.
And it's funny because people hate the Cybertruck because it looks like a wedge, and
Yeah.
people don't like the Rivian because it looks like a Nissan Frontier.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's the middle
Yeah.
ground?
You're not going to please everyone. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to win.
Personally, I prefer the Rivian over the Cybertruck. I think the Cybertruck is too edgy, and who knows, you might bring something totally different to market. Because it's just ugly. Like, it's not different. It's just ugly. Like, it just doesn't do it for me. And I mean, literally the only reason why people are going to buy it is because it's Tesla and Elon Musk said it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have a huge portion of those people who
that
is. It's just, I could buy one, all hail Elon.
I mean, it's I definitely do like I think it looks like it's built a lot better, which is huge because like I said before, the main complaint about Tesla is that they suck in terms of build quality.
Yeah.
So I have been in one Model S before, and they were doing a test drive event at where my dad works. And he works for an energy company, and he was driving. I was in the back seat, and it was a P100D. This was probably like 2018.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. I mean, I've been in some nice cars. You know that thing made them feel like a toy car.
Yeah.
Like, and the speed.
That's the problem. They are fast.
And my dad didn't even floor it. He chickened out with like 3/4. And I don't blame him, because I was like those people don't exaggerate online. Like, it's literally like, you cannot like reach forward.
I still remember seeing the Tesla Roadster video and watching someone go for a ride in one, and they drove through like this tunnel or something, and it literally looked fake because they were accelerating so quickly. So, that's the thing with EVs. There's no doubting they are so fast. 100% torque right away, instantly.
Yeah. I mean, when that came out, 0 to 60 1.9 seconds, right? The Roadster.
Yeah, I believe
the new one. Now the Plaid does that. The Model S Plaid does that. So now the Roadster needs to do it like 1.5 seconds, which is like, when's it going to stop? Is it just going to be like, you guys going to be driving at a red light, and in order not to hit 60 instantly, you're going to have to like barely touch the throttle.
Yeah. Like you're driving a dragster on the road. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's got to be a point where it's like, you have to like put settings in,
Oh, it'll come eventually, because everything is 0 to 60 now. I mean, if you have two cars and one's faster than 0 to 60, you're automatically going to think that car's better. You just, everyone uses 0 to 60. I mean, I'm guilty of it. It's just 0 to 60 sounds so cool.
Isn't there a new mile per hour, like 200 kilometers an hour, or like 154 miles an hour or something like that? Like what they do, like Hennessy did it with the new F5, and Koenigsegg's been doing it with some of their cars. And I can't remember like the 0 to like, it's over 100 miles an hour. And that's like the new 0 to 60 or something.
Yeah. It might be 0 to 150.
Yeah. 150. Okay. Yeah. Something like that. Because I mean, like the Hennessy can do it in like 14 seconds or something crazy like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the thing with some of those cars, their 0 to 60 may not be the greatest, but they do like, 50 to 150 in like 2 seconds. That's an experience to do.
That's something you could really do, because you'd be driving on the highway and it's at night and there's nobody else on the highway, and just floor it.
Exactly. Because 0 to 60 is half about the launch. I mean, it's if you can get the power down to the tires and not make them spin, you'll have a good 0 to 60 in time. But like, to do 50 to 150 quick, you need a lot of horsepower, and you need good traction, because you can easily break the tires loose at, 50, 100, 150. You can break the tires loose on some of these seriously high horsepower cars.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the EV movement is happening. And I mean, I actually, I had a class in my first year of college, this engineering course, and we had to design a new product.
Yep.
basically what it was. And kids had like the solar panel windows
Yep.
and like stupid stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to come up with something like that. I want to come up with something that, obviously I can't think of it in 3 weeks,
Yep.
but something that's original. So I thought about so hydrogen fuel cell already exists.
Yep.
And electric cars already exist. And hydrogen fuel cells basically just power a small electric battery that powers a motor.
Yep.
And I was thinking, why don't they make the battery in the hydrogen fuel cell cars larger instead of having a small one that just powers a battery and the hydrogen fuel cell is the main source? Like it's not as prevalent as gas. Obviously, it's only in California.
Yeah.
So I thought, just have that one fuel cell tank, or the fuel cell and then the hydrogen tank, and then have a large 85 kilowatt hour battery or something like that. And then as the battery gets low, the fuel cell can charge up the battery, and the battery is the main source of power, but you have that backup. And then instead of having gas stations, hydrogen stations everywhere, maybe you can have them at like the dealerships or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's interesting because hydrogen is a really interesting car. I don't know what your thoughts are on those, but that's like that alternative fuel that you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about them. I thought the last hydrogen powered car was like just this weird concept thing. Are there more companies that made a?
Well, Toyota makes one, the Mirai.
Oh,
it's
really?
Mainstream. They sell them in California, and Hyundai makes one.
Really?
Yeah.
Hydrogen powered cars.
Hydrogen fuel cell.
Hydrogen fuel cell.
So it's hydrogen gas that's condensed into mechanical, into electrical that turns into mechanical energy.
Huh.
So yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's been around for a few years now. Hydrogen fuel
I might
cell.
have to do a little research then. I haven't heard a lot about them.
Well, they don't exist on the East Coast. That's why they're only in California.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't.
So no, I mean, well, California kind of sucks anyways. It's just good for the beaches and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Especially now, you can't walk down the road without seeing a drug addict and poop on the side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. The homeless camps and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, back to YouTube. So I mean, social media is obviously getting criticized a lot lately. Yeah. So do you think that YouTube will still be as big as it is now in 10 years?
I think so. I think YouTube is going to be, I mean, it grew a lot recently. I think it's just going to keep going. I mean, I think cable's dead. Cable is going to be gone. YouTube, I think, is going to be the new cable. Mm-hmm. It's going to get massive. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I mean, there's some like 4,000, minutes or something, or hours of video that's uploaded to YouTube every like hour or minute or something ridiculous. There was some crazy statistic that I read about, and it just shows you how popular this platform is. As long as they don't turn into like a TikTok and they start, banning creators.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have and they haven't. I do watch this other YouTube. I watch like the Guggen Squad and Flare and things like that. And recently they had like a big blow up where people are getting demonetized.
Oh,
yeah. So basically they can't show the butchering of an animal or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And videos are getting flagged and taken down. And for those guys, like that's obviously their main source of income. Like they have nothing else to fall back on.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because like Steve Rinella, I don't know if you know who he is.
Can't say I do.
So he's a big hunter, and he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast or whatever. Yep. And he has a show on Netflix, and it's really interesting because he does all of that, and he's on YouTube, and not once has he ever gotten demonetized. But then you got all these smaller guys.
Yeah.
And it's easy to pick on them. And it's funny because they're not smaller. They have more subscribers than Steve Rinella does, but Steve Rinella has a Netflix show.
Oh, wow.
And he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast. So like the Guggen Squad has I think probably well over 10 million subscribers across all their channels. And so because they have probably 5 or 6 members, something like that. And then they have a Guggen Squad channel and whatever. Yep. They're all outdoorsy, fishing, hunting, whatnot, sort of thing. And yeah, that's obviously a big thing because, let's say that everybody moves to this and this is their main source of income for a lot of people, like, and everybody's like, YouTube's a private company, they can do whatever they want. That's really scary,
It is.
because then it's just up to Susan Wachowski or whatever the heck her name is of who is banned, who's allowed to make money and who isn't.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I think that YouTube will be around, but I think other websites will have risen to not quite as large, but it'll be like, hey, have you seen this video on this, instead of YouTube, sort of thing.
I think there'll be another platform. There's got to be, because like you said, YouTube does have its shortcomings and stuff. And even in the past, like 10 years, YouTube has taken a massive hit in AdSense. The old YouTubers used to make massive money with views and stuff. And there was a big cut. It was much before my time. I don't know a whole lot about it. But you could have people who made one video, went viral, made a quick $100,000, and then could jump ship. And now they're making you get 1,000 hours of watch time, or no, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 4,000. What's it? Hours of watch time?
Hours. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just hit 1,000 or something like that of watch time.
Yeah.
But obviously I don't have enough subscribers. So it's like,
Yeah.
But
I was grandfathered into that, so I didn't have to hit the 1,000 subscribers. I was already I started my channel before that was even a thing. So I've been in it for a little while.
Yeah. So I'm at 1,099 watch hours of 4,000 required.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's really interesting. It's funny because I've made better videos than the one that got 12,000 views, but they get less views. Like they're higher quality.
YouTube is whack, man. I mean, it's so I didn't realize as of recently just how important the title and the thumbnail is, because as I learned the real hard way, you can make a kick-ass video. Sorry, I don't know if you're allowed to swear. Kick butt video.
That's okay. And that's an okay. Just like the hard swears aren't good.
Okay, yeah. But you can make a really, really good video. And if no one is inclined to click on that thumbnail or click on your title, no one is going to see it. It's your thumbnail is your gatekeeper. So, I learned that because I was making these videos and I was putting literally stupid amounts of time into them. I mean, I have videos where I spend 30 hours at the computer at just doing one video, and then that video will tank. And it's because of the title and thumbnail and stuff. So that was something I learned. There was huge importance on the success of a video.
Yeah.
And it's a huge piece of the puzzle. So I've really spent a ton of time doing research and stuff. What makes a good title? What makes a good thumbnail? And like, I think you touched at the beginning, you made your titles pretty like vague wasn't the word you used, but instead of me making a video like 2021 Lamborghini Urus review, instead I did my day with the $300,000 Lamborghini SUV.
Yeah.
It just sounds more intriguing. It's not so bland. If I install like a mod on my Corvette, instead of saying like, installing LED headlights on my Corvette, I'll make the title, I should have done this months ago. And it makes people question, what should you have done months ago? And the thumbnail's a picture of the Corvette. So people are going to be like, all right, they can put 2 and 2 together and obviously be like, all right, so obviously it's something has to do with the Corvette. I'm going to click and watch because you've intrigued them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually did a vlog. And it was a day in the life of a 3D printing engineer. And that's my third most viewed video.
How many views?
And 1,568 views.
There you go.
It's been up since February 15th.
Yeah.
I thought that one was going to get more because of the like a day in the life part. Because I noticed that's a lot. But I mean, I don't know if I should change it to a different title and see if it sticks.
You can change it. You can change the title. You can change the thumbnail. I even had a ton of success changing titles and thumbnails and getting a huge return with like more views and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's worth a shot because what does it cost you? A couple minutes to brainstorm a new title.
Yeah.
And then, what's the thumbnail of it?
A picture of me in front of a 3D printer.
Okay. Yeah. Does it have
Yeah.
any writing or anything?
No.
I would throw in like yellow writing, just day in the life.
Okay. Yeah.
Yellow's a high impact color that's been proven good for thumbnails and stuff. I would change it if I were you to use that picture, make sure it has your face in it because thumbnails with faces do better. And then have yellow writing with a day in the life. Don't put 3D printing engineer because that'll make people question, even if they didn't read the full title, they'd be like, day in the life of what? What is that machine? And use a red arrow to point at the machine.
Oh, okay.
Red arrows get people intrigued. That's been another proven thing. That's why you see a ton of YouTubers use red arrows in their thumbnails.
Yeah, especially like, I'm ashamed to say this, but Mr. Beast.
Oh yeah. The funny thing is, don't be ashamed. I literally this morning listened to a podcast with him and watched 2 videos on his secrets to success, what he thinks are like big tips for YouTubers and stuff. Because I mean, there's no doubting he's the one of the most popular creators on the platform. He knows something that I don't, so I'm I'm not
what
gonna
podcast was it?
diss it. I was Colin and Samir.
Who's that? Colin Samir.
It's Colin and Samir. It's 2 guys.
Colin and Samir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of creator interviews.
Okay.
They're on YouTube and stuff too. They're pretty good. And I learned quite a bit from the podcast of what Mr. Beast had to say. So, he's a bigger creator than I am. He knows a lot more than I do. Who am I to, just brush it off because I don't like the guy.
It is good though that somebody like him exists because the videos are very like what entertainment is supposed to be. It's Minecraft. It's not Minecraft with the social issue, like it's just entertainment. And that's what a lot of people, that's why I love the Stradman, because he pretends like the world doesn't exist. And that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And I'm not watching the Stradman to get lectured on his views on, whether or not the pipeline should be canceled or not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching him because he's got nice cars and Utah's a cool state. And I like seeing the mountains and him driving on a salt lake. Yeah. That's why I watch him,
Exactly.
Like, and a lot of people for some reason feel like their opinion needs to be heard when I don't really care what your opinion is. I just want to watch what your entertainment is,
time and place, keep it out of the videos.
Exactly.
That's how a lot of people get in trouble is they bring too much of their personal life into it. People subscribe to you and follow you for a reason. Don't give them a reason to not.
That's why I follow political commentators. That's when I want to watch a video on that, watch a video on that. When I want to watch a video about a gated manual Murcielago, I'll watch that video. Yeah. Which is awesome. That car is amazing. And so it's funny because you said the Urus was the most expensive car that you've reviewed. Yep. Isn't the gated manual Murcielago supposed to be worth like $400,000 now?
So the Urus was 2 or 3 weeks before I had the Murcielago. So the funny thing was I'd been doing YouTube for this long. I'd met, all the guys with the supercars and stuff. And I've driven a Corvette is really the I guess you'd say the fanciest car I've driven, even though I've driven like RX-7s and stuff. I've driven now mostly everything, but I'd never driven a supercar with the nameplate Lamborghini, Ferrari. So to have that Urus was so special to me. I mean, it literally, I couldn't sleep the night before. Just, it was life-changing, even though it's the SUV, a lot of people aren't even like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's just an Audi and stuff. But, it was so special to me. And then for, a few weeks later to be like, hey, here's a gated manual Murcielago. That was insane.
So did he just email you or whatever, or DM you?
So the funniest thing was I met, when I hosted my car show that you came to, my friend Izzy, Tuner Army, the guy with the camo Corvette.
Yep.
He, as the show was closing out, he was like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to someone. He's my friend." And I went over to the other side of the show, and he had a blue BMW M Coupe. I don't know if you saw it there. It was kind of in the back with there was a yellow 488. There was yellow 458 Ferrari.
There was I didn't see the other Ferrari there.
Yeah, he was in the back.
This is that First Choice Tires, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that other. I only saw that blue Ferrari.
I don't think he was there for the whole time.
Oh, okay, because we left kind of early.
Yeah. So I walked out backward there, and he introduced me to a guy named Rick Medeiros, who is actually a really good friend of mine now. And he's just introduced us to. He's like, Rick is co-owner of a shop over in Merrimack that repairs a lot of supercars and stuff. He's like just a good person to know. So he was like, you guys should meet up sometime, talk strategy, talk marketing and stuff like that. So I did. And the first time I met him, he let me drive his BMW M Coupe, which is again a really special, very rare BMW. And
I know what you're talking. Yeah, the M Coupe is like the clown shoe car.
The clown shoe. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was so that was extremely special to me because I was like, holy crap, like there aren't a lot of these around.
Yeah.
This is a really rare BMW.
Yeah.
So so I took it for a drive. He gave me all sorts of input on my channel and stuff, things I should try to do. A few weeks later, I did a video with his BMW M Coupe, did a review on it that's on the channel. And he then introduced me to a bunch of other people who had these cars. Then I did videos with their cars. I was supposed to actually film a Huracan, a guy he knew that Tuner Army also knew, but that fell through the cracks. Not a great story, but and I just kept hanging out with Rick and Izzy from Tuner Army, and I kept going to Rick's shop because I filmed a few more cars there, and I was filming his business partner, another friend of mine, Halim. I was filming his yellow Audi S3, the one I just did a video on. It was like the last car review I did, and I got to the shop one day, and there was a gated manual Murcielago there with a Testarossa, and the same guy owned both of these cars. So I'm drooling over this thing. That's one of my dream cars. Hell, it's like everyone's dream car. And Rick, being the awesome guy he is, he's like, yeah, well, we'll try to get you in contact with the owner of that. We'll try to get you in that car. So sure enough, I was filming for the second day with the S3, and I dropped the car off, and the owner of the gated manual Mercy was coming up to pick it up. So they planned it so that I was there when the guy showed up. So I met the kid who owned it. He's actually a year older than me. I'm doing YouTube, and this guy owns a gated manual Murcielago and the Testarossa. His name's Salem. He owns Motive down in Warwick. Great guy. Shout out to him. And we met. Rick was like, Jake does videos for us. You think he could film a video with the Murcielago? Salem was like, absolutely. Do you mind driving to Rhode Island? I was like, I would drive halfway across the country to film this thing.
This is in Warwick. He has a gated manual Murcielago.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So sure enough, a few days later, I drove down there, me and my brother, and he helped me film, and I had it for the day.
Wow.
And it was incredible. So it was funny.
You should have stopped by.
Dude, I actually ran out of time with the car. So I've got all the footage now, and I don't know how I'm going to piece together a full video because I ran out of time. I spent so much time, getting outside shots of it, getting drone shots and stuff, that I had 20 minutes till his shop closed, and I hadn't even sat down in the car to actually film my review of it. I had driven it a bunch and stuff, doing the flyby shots, getting the drone shots and stuff, but I didn't have an actual in-car review of it. So the shop was closing and stuff, and he was like, yeah, you just got to have the car back when we close and stuff so we can lock it up. And I actually ran out of time with it. So I don't know how I'm going to piece together the video, but just the experience in general. I mean, man, it was insane.
Yeah. I mean, the gated manual is the best part, because I've driven nice cars, and I drove a C7 with the 7-speed manual, and it's just something about it, the huge hood in front of you, and then having to shift gears, and the Porsche Cayman is the same. And it's just something about it that I enjoy. I was actually thinking of a good video idea for you. You should do a video on why the Hyundai Elantra is the greatest car ever invented, so that you can do a car video. Yeah, Hyundai Elantra, because that's what I drive. Wow. Yeah, that's what you.
A personal review of your Hyundai Elantra.
It's got a Walmart stereo in it, a Rockford Fosgate subwoofer, and a 6-speed manual transmission that doesn't go in reverse sometimes.
At least it's a manual. You have me intrigued.
Yes, it's a manual. And I'll tell you, when you're on the highway going 65 and you floor it, nothing happens. You have to downshift when you're in 6th gear.
Yeah,
because it's purely a fuel mileage gear. Because I'll be like trying to pass somebody. I'm like, oh, all right, got to downshift. Sometimes you even need to get into 4th gear because it's only got 138 horsepower.
It sounds like my Jeep. It's got 110.
Yeah,
and it's shaped like a brick.
Jeeps. But at least your Jeep is cool. Like, oh my gosh! And some guy sideswiped me, like just went, and then I've got a scratch on the side of it. I'm like, oh man! I was looking at a GTI.
Yep,
that was super cool. It was dark blue in New York, and I was like, oh man, I want that car, but I just didn't want to get into a payment. So, because this car is all paid off, it's got 134,000 miles on it now.
Not terrible.
So, yeah. I mean, terrible. Sometimes, so I was like door dashing for extra cash.
Yep.
And I was going into reverse at like an Applebee's, and my car just wouldn't go in reverse.
Oof.
And I'm like going to put it in, and you hear, I'm like,
oh boy.
Yeah. And now I don't DoorDash anymore because I don't want to pay $1,500 for the clutch to replace.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah.
And it's probably the clutch. It's probably what it is. It won't go in reverse.
So, but it goes in reverse. It just seems like when you go in reverse a lot, because I was backing up, and it just, if you go in reverse a lot, it seems to have that issue. But it's funny because I was actually thinking about the C5. And I was at a car show in Westerly, which is down the road from me. And they had every generation except for the C6. Yeah, they had a C8 there. They had a C7. They had a C5, C4. They had a C2, and they had a first gen.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I had liked the C5, but I didn't really think it held up to some of the other cars, but they were kind of close to each other. And to be honest, the C5 is not a bad looking car. A lot of people, kind of brush it off as a forgotten generation of the Corvette.
Yep.
I hate the C4. C4 is by far the worst generation, but the C5, I actually grew more appreciation for it looking at it. And I thought it was a really good looking car, especially with the hidden headlights. The C2 is my favorite generation.
Oh yeah, C2 is awesome.
Yeah. But and then the C3 kind of got Hot Wheelsy, and then the C4 was definitely Hot Wheelsy, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then the C5 kind of got back to the basics, and I really like that one.
Yeah, good. I'm a big C5 person.
Yes. That's why I thought of that. It was like, because it's a really interesting car, because it's one of those cars that I feel like is going to start going up in value. Because it's getting to that 20, 25-year-old mark, manual transmission Corvette.
Exactly.
So even if it's got a lot of miles on it, like yours does, I think that it'll hold its value. I think they stopped depreciating at this moment.
Yeah. So 2 things to say to you, actually. A while ago, you said you were looking at a GTI. I highly recommend. I love my GTI.
Yeah.
Great car. Just got to say that. 2, I think the C5 hit its bottom already. The C4 and late generation C3s, they were sinking. This stupid car market that we're in was probably the only reason that they stopped sinking. I think they might. I don't know if they'll go down anymore. I mean, C4s and late C3s are cheap. My dad has a C4, so I'm impartial to it. I like it just because it's been, when I was 2, I walked out into the garage and there was a red C4.
Did you make a video on that C4?
No.
Okay, I was going to say
background. Yeah. It's been in the
Yeah.
background. And my dad won't sell it because he bought it when he was 18. It's got 68,000 miles on it, and he won't sell it, one, because it's worth nothing. They're worth literally next to nothing. You could probably get that car for $2,000, $2,500. But two, it's got sentimental value. So it's not worth getting rid of. And I would like to maybe next year take it out, fix it up a little bit, and do some videos with it, because for some reason C4s are ridiculously popular on YouTube. I don't know if it's just Corvette in general, but yeah, C4s have a huge following on YouTube. And I think it's basically because a lot of people can get them. People can afford them.
Yeah, that's probably why. It's just not my favorite. It just doesn't look good. I just never really liked them. I mean, there was this. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say it's not that it's a good looking car. I like it for just, again, the sentimental value and, the the digital dash. That's cool. And the body looks pretty 80s. I like the flip up headlights because the C5s just go like this. The C4s literally do like a full tumble.
Okay.
It's kind of cool to watch.
Yep.
It's just a little retro and stuff, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So last question. So obviously we've been talking about your success on YouTube. You have like 29,000 subscribers.
29,000. Yep.
All right. So what do you attribute to your success as a YouTube creator?
It's hard not to say Corvette, because it seems like that's what a ton of my growth came from. The biggest risk I took in my life, which was buying the C5. But I think for any YouTuber and anything in general, it's to work your ass off. I got luckier the harder I worked, and that's a classic saying, but it's the most truthful one. Is I get up at 4 a.m. every single day to edit videos. When the sun comes up, I'm out filming the videos. When I come back in, I'm editing again. So, because opportunities are everywhere in the car world and stuff. Like a few months back over the summer, a friend of mine with a twin turbo Huracan, the night before one of the biggest shows, the opening of Koenigsegg Boston, actually, Lambos Matter on Instagram. He shot me a message. He's like, "Hey, tomorrow, do you want to ride with me down to Koenigsegg Boston?" And the people I met and stuff with all these other twin turbo supercars and stuff, it's just networking and networking. So you just never know when the next opportunity is going to be. So you have to work so hard that you can be ready for it when it comes. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's some great advice, and I appreciate you coming on. It's been a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad that I reached out to you and you agreed to come on, because I'd like to have a little change of pace on the podcast and get some new people on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and to my listeners, if you guys have any questions you'd like to ask, want me to ask people in the future, email me knowledgeispowerra@gmail.com. Check out my website, custom3dllc.com, and there'll be a link on my website to the podcast to share with your friends. So thanks, guys, for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, Max.
All right. Oh, wait.